Welcome to the S.J. Child Show, where a little bit of knowledge can turn fear into understanding. Enjoy the show. Hi, thank you for joining the SG Child Show today. I'm really looking forward to my conversation today with Laura Hope Whitaker. I love that it's all phonetically wonderfully easy to say. I'm so phonetic, and I hate hurting people's last names when I do that. But
Right.
oh, it's so nice to meet you and have you here today.
It's great to meet you too, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love your background. That's really cute with the.
Thanks. Yeah, I've got a dandelion here, and I love to talk about dandelions.
You know, that's so interesting. I was literally just reading about dandelions just a couple days ago and how they're the only, one of the only plants that represent both the sun and the moon and do the opening and closing of both the day and the night.
They do. That's
have that representation. I thought that was so neat that happened, you know, and it's great.
I did a TED talk on it a few years ago. And I paralleled the population that I work with individuals with disabilities with dandelions. And it's interesting because our culture sees them as weeds, but really they for centuries have been used in other countries and centuries back used for medicinal purposes. They're really great for your liver. They have so many skills and abilities. They're the first things that bees use to pollinate the rest of the spring. So it's just like they're these fascinating plants that are on the front of weed killers here in America. And I paralleled the fact that oftentimes, if you haven't had experience with people with disabilities, you may have a certain perspective of who they are. And really, there are these beautiful, amazing abilities within them. And so I paralleled the difference of them and brought us back to our 5-year-old selves that when we all looked at a dandelion the same. And then how culture kind of changed the perspective of what a dandelion is. And I think the same thing happens for people who are different from us. Culture kind of changes our perspectives of people. And so yeah, it's a human experience. Picking a dandelion when you're a child turns out, and it really resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah, I love that. It is so true too. And that they were used medicinally for so many centuries before us. And in fact, I was in the reading that I was doing that it said they actually didn't grow grass. They tried to get rid of grass to grow the dandelions that wanted, and how we've just upside down our complete society. But that's another podcast. We'll need 1,200 podcasts to cover that one. Isn't that the truth? Oh, it's so nice to have you here today. I guess an introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you here today.
Yeah, so I come to you from a little outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I think what brings me here today is our commonality in what I have chosen to do with my life and the people that I've chosen to serve and both serve me. So a little bit about me. I went to the college at the University of Georgia, which is outside of Atlanta in Athens. They've won a couple national championships recently, so you may know the dogs that way. I grew up in Atlanta and a city girl, went to Athens for college. And volunteering was very much a way of life for my family. Now, as a mom of 3 children, 15, 11, and 7, I often like to remember that what I do today is what my kids will one day display. And for my family, volunteering was a way of life. We had different people that looked different from us, that had different family backgrounds than us at our kitchen table. And so when I came to the university, I knew I wanted to volunteer. And I stumbled upon this little place called ESP, which had a mission to serve individuals with disabilities during the summer at a summer camp. And as many of you know, there's not the same opportunities during the summer as typical or neurotypical individuals. And so I started volunteering there, fell in love with it, really found myself in the service of others. As a second girl, I was wrought with comparison. My sister was perfect. I was not. I was at the university, like, what is my purpose? What am I here? And really, we all want purpose and community. And I really found my sense of purpose at ESP. Shortly after that, our founder was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and passed away a couple months later. And so I found myself the director of a nonprofit at the age of 19. And I had to finish my sophomore year of college and figure out how to run a 6-week day camp for people with disabilities and hire 30 of my friends. And that was back in 2005. And 20 years later, we now serve over 1,200 individuals throughout the state. We're growing our model to be in multiple cities throughout the country, similar to like the Boys and Girls Club. But we're kind of taking our 40-year model and duplicating it in multiple places. We have a social enterprise called Java Joy that employs neurodiverse individuals, and we're continuing to grow. So that's how I come to you today as the CEO of an growing organization. But really, some days I'm still that 19-year-old girl who took over a small flailing organization and had to figure out how to raise $50,000. And now I'm trying to raise $8 million a year to fund the organization that we have now. So,
my
that's a little bit
goodness.
about me.
Wow. Amazing. First of all, amazing. What was I doing at 19? Yeah, let's not go back. Let's fast forward to 33 where now I'm an adult.
Right. Well, we all have our own path. And,
yes. Yeah, absolutely.
For me, it definitely started earlier. But I've had the joy of raising my 3 neurotypical individuals around people who are neurodiverse. And that's really been really part of my anthem song has a lot to do with speaking to parents and people who don't have experience with people with disabilities, and what an opportunity we have to raise our children in an inclusive environment. And I've really been able to see the benefit of that over the last 15 years since I had my son.
I love that. What an incredible journey, and the amount of families and connections that you've made, I'm sure, is just limitless. Amazing. What did that look like? I mean, were you afraid? Like, did you feel like you had the supports you needed when you were that young starting it all? Like, what was your mind frame?
So the funny part about it is that we had a $50,000 deficit I had to raise in 3 months to run summer camp. We had 4 board members, one of which was in jail for embezzlement of another nonprofit.
Oh, no.
The other lost her son tragically shortly after I took over. The third was the founder's daughter. And the fourth taught me my first how to get in QuickBooks and how to do a P&L and a balance sheet. And so to say I had the support would not be the case. But what I did do, and what I have since, looked back on, even 20 years into it, is I knew the biggest thing that I didn't know. And that was that you don't have to know everything. And I surrounded myself with people who did know. And I think, imposter syndrome is a word that's flown out there all the time. And I love to kind of change and shift perspectives on it. It's like, we don't have to know. We don't have to pretend we're the experts to things or question if we are or we aren't. We're called to move forward and to surround ourselves with people who can help support us as we do. And if we feel led to move in a certain direction, or life puts us in a certain position, we don't have to be the expert at anything. In fact, it's better if you're not. And that's what I've learned from being around people who are neurodivergent, is oftentimes they don't pretend to be the expert at something. They're very authentically themselves, and in a way that's beautiful and humble and honest. And so 20 years later, I'm still trying to remember that and be led to surround myself with people who have walked the walk, who have grown organizations as big as we are now, and can help guide me and teach me as we move forward. So no, I did not have a ton of support at the time, but I really feel like I was I was able to surround myself with a community that could teach me. It's funny for the nonprofit people out there. I went to people in the nonprofit field and said, will you help me? And not one of them responded back to me. And so I decided to go to the for-profit world, and I was put in this cohort of entrepreneurs who are building their businesses. One's a large franchisee now, several franchisees actually. And it's been fun to watch them grow their businesses over the last 20 years as I've grown ESP. And it taught me that nonprofits are businesses.
Yeah.
Our missions are different, right? Our tax codes are different. But at the end of the day, a nonprofit is a business, and we have multiple stakeholders. We should run and operate as a business. And the more efficiently and effectively we can run our businesses, the better we can fulfill our mission and the people that we serve. And so I was really thankful at that time, when I was 19, 20, 21, 22, to go to the university and learn alongside entrepreneurs, because it really taught me a lot that I bring to the organization today from back then.
I love that you said that too, because I recently just got my filing status for my 501c3. But like you said, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Like, I am baby stepped into this, and I am waiting for the next step to show me what to do next. And then I will do it. And like you said, just trying to surround myself or gather information from others who have done it. And now I have someone wonderful I can call.
There you go.
What do I do? Yeah, it's amazing. And for the same reason, just wanting that availability to connect people with the resources that they need. And it's so hard to find the people who don't know they need the resources or don't know how to find them. How do you find these people? What a tricky thing to do. But I love that it's like what you're doing is a little bit easier as far as it's community based. People know that they need something in that community. They know they need something tangible, physical right there for them, for their loved ones, or, people that they caretake for. And so mine's a little bit more obscure in that it's an online presence. So it kind of has these layers of complexity that kind of add to it. And there's not as much of like a physical need for things. And so it's going to be an interesting road. That's for sure. What do you think, like, what are some of the testimonies, maybe, if you will, from families and people who have gone through the program?
Gosh, I mean, there's so many. I was talking to a mom just 2 days ago. We have in Athens, which is our biggest, we serve 900 families in the Athens area, which is where I started. And now we've grown to Atlanta and Rome and soon to be Savannah. And we'll be growing in North Carolina and outside of the state pretty soon. But I was talking to a family in Athens, and we have a 24,000 square foot building where we do after school programming, summer camp programming. Java Joy, our social enterprise, brews out of there and goes into businesses and organizations and serves coffee. But really the goal is to help change perspectives and shift perspectives in the workplace. And anyway, I was talking to a mom. We were standing at our Miracle League field. We built a Miracle League field where individuals of all abilities can play baseball. And right next to it is our Playground of Possibilities, which has a really cool story about one of our artistic friends that he completely changed through the trajectory of his time at ESP. His name is Matt, and we built the Playground of Possibilities really in his honor, and it was funded in his honor. But it's a universally designed playground. So individuals, it is built from the ground up for everyone to be able to access it and to be able to play. And what we know about that is that little kids who are 2 and 3 without disabilities, if they have the opportunity to play with individuals with disabilities on that playground, not only will they continue to play with them there, but they'll build those neural cycles that they need in their brain to then be inclusive outside of the playground. And so we knew we wanted to be a community changer in that way. So we built that playground. And so I'm talking to this mom, and she has a daughter who has attended our music therapy program from the time she was 4 months old. And she's now 4 and about to start our camp programs and our after school programs. And we just took 55 families to the beach. So it's called our ESP by the Sea program, and you have individuals in wheelchairs. So we have beach wheelchairs, you have individuals on the autism spectrum, you have and everything in between. And every family gets a buddy. And so what's important about this is a lot of, and you'll understand this, that a lot of our families just don't go on vacation. It's too complicated, right? It's just
100%.
like the complexities of, whether it's the noise, or is my child going to run into the ocean and drown, or is I can't get my child physically 250 pounds of dead weight on the sand and all that. So what's beautiful is that they have a college buddy that's with them. That's kind of their concierge. Whatever that family needs, that college individual is there to support them.
Mm.
And so for this family, it really was, she's a single mom. And so her daughter had her buddy, and she was able to go on a walk on the beach by herself. She was able to go to beach yoga while her daughter was taken care of. And she was telling me that she said, I have been paying for out of school speech therapy since she was born. So she gets in school speech therapy and out of school speech therapy. She said, we have been working since she started talking when she was 1 to the last 3 years on her stringing 2 words together. And she said, we went to the beach and we came home, and all she kept saying was had fun. And she strung those 2 words together after the beach. And her speech therapist was like, I don't know what happened at the beach, but something happened. And I think that's not the first time. That's one of many, many times I've heard that, whether it's from a speech therapist or an occupational therapist, that in a resource-rich environment that is recreational and social and built for relationships, there's not this contrived environment. It is really exposure therapy for all senses. And so ESP can tend to be a place where we see a lot of firsts. First step, first time in the pool, first time 2 words are strung together, first word, first friend. And that is really pretty cool to be a place that provides that kind of environment that individuals feel comfortable enough to be themselves and to grow. And it's a resource-rich environment that they want to be a part of, and they're the best versions of themselves. So, that's pretty cool. And, and the goodness is not just the people we serve and their families. It's also the people that volunteer and work. It's the people who find a sense of purpose and connection and relationship. And, it's high school students who are anxiety ridden and have panic attacks that come in and start serving and really find themselves in the gift of service too, just like I did when I was 19, and not that those panic attacks are magically gone, but in being able to serve, in exposure therapy for them, in the recreation, in the love, in the connection, they're able to find themselves and really cope with their challenges in a new and different way. So lots of really beautiful stories, thousands of them, but those are some that come to mind.
I love that. And are the college concierge, I love that you said that, are they volunteers that do you go to the colleges around you and gather these groups of kiddos to come and help?
Yeah, our model definitely works best in college communities. So we have over 1,000 college students that volunteer with us at our biggest site in Athens. And we're growing that in the other 2 sites. But yes, it's really built upon that energy and the enthusiasm and the momentum of young, energetic high school and college students. And it's and often I have found too, those individuals aren't as tainted by whether it's, culture standards or challenges with their own children or whatever. They just have a fresh perspective on life. They have a fresh energy. And even for our individuals that we serve that are 40 or 50 years old, they still want to be hanging out with an 18-year-old. Shoot, wow. I still want to be hanging out with an 18-year-old, it's cool. So if you have a 40-year-old on the spectrum or a 38-year-old with Down syndrome, they don't mind hanging out with an 18 or a 20-year-old who's super cool. And oftentimes you can't tell who's who. So yeah, the college and high school staff are really, really, we do have internships. We have summer staff. We do pay a lot of our staff, but the volunteerism is where it it seeds first and then it grows from there.
That's so beautiful. I just love that, and love the idea of all of these young people wanting to make a difference. That's so special. And I really hope that that continues, that
Too.
movement through the world. Absolutely.
Too.
What are your plans? You have any upcoming plans or events or things? Obviously, summer is happening, so
Right.
you're going to be a little busy.
Definitely. Yeah. We've got 3 weeks, 3 sites of summer camp. So a total of 12 weeks collectively, 6 weeks of day camp in Athens, 2 weeks in Atlanta, 2 weeks in Rome, and then 2 weeks of overnight camp where all the sites come together and go to overnight camp together.
Oh,
So that'll
wow.
be a really neat thing. We've started doing some traveling with our Java Joy program. Java Joy is an unexpected interaction with someone with a disability, and it's a catering model, a coffee catering model that goes into for-profit businesses and organizations serving coffee and joy. And most recently, we've started doing some travel visits that we're paid to do, which has been pretty awesome. We went to London about a month ago, which was really cool. You can see the trip on my Instagram. We took two of our joyristas, we call them.
Oh, I love that.
A barista, they're a joyrista, and we took two of them to London to meet a friend of ours, Tom Holland, who's Spider-Man in the Spider-Man movies. He invited us out there and got to see him. And one of our individuals who's autistic was there, Nikki, and then Liz, who has Down syndrome. And we flew across the country for our first international business trip. And so we were paid to go there and go to this gala and serve and give. And it was awesome. We're headed to Colorado in June for the All-American City Award. Our city that we built, the universally designed playground, is being recognized as one of the top 20 cities because of the inclusivity of the campus that we have built. And so we're going to go out there and bring two more of our joyristas. So really looking forward to that, the opportunity to travel. And if you think about it, there's a lot of people out there who complain about work travel, right? But if you've never had the opportunity to go on a business trip, it's pretty transformative. And so we're giving these joyristas the opportunity to go on a business trip. And it's not like, oh, that's sweet. It's like, no, they're needed in Colorado. They're needed in London. The skills and abilities that they have, I can't do, only they can do. And so that's been really a fun part of our program most recently, is doing some of the traveling.
Incredible. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I mean, it's just how exciting for all of the people involved to be a part of that. And what a huge accomplishment for you guys to get that and to be able to travel. And that's amazing.
It's really, I mean, to go on an airplane for that long. And one of our joyristas, she learned how to blow dry her hair independently for the first time because her mom and her sister weren't there. Yeah. So, her and I were sharing a room, and I'm like, you can do this, girl. You've got this. So the level of independence and confidence that came with traveling. I mean, if you think about when you travel and you've gone somewhere by yourself without your family, man, that's such a tremendous confidence boost in your independence to be able to travel and interact with people who are different and take red buses instead of yellow buses and figure out how to navigate British accents and kinds of foods, and all of those things are really, really a remarkable experience. And it's fun to watch on the other side too, to be able to just to be a participant in that and to watch that level of confidence grow in our joyristas has been a gift to me for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So did they go and do if people have office meetings, do they go serve coffee? And is that kind of what the setup is?
Yeah, that's the model. Yeah. I mean, we've done large events for thousands and thousands of people, and we've done small events for 30 employees, appreciation events, corporate individuals that book us to send it to another partner or someone they're trying to do business with. They'll send Java Joy out to their business, and it's a great way to show a level of partnership. And and then it allows our joyristas the opportunity to work and network in a bunch of different businesses, right? It's like really an incredible opportunity for them to learn their core competency. And there's 3 different jobs within Java Joy. They know what they're doing, but the environment's different, which again gives them exposure to different people and different environments within the safe little nest of their people and the people that are working with them in their particular job. So we've just seen incredible growth in independence and social connection with our individuals because they've been able to we have a cart in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown Atlanta. That's been really cool. They get to watch Atlanta United and the Atlanta Falcons and interact with all different types of people. And I think that has been really, really, really remarkable to see their level of growth, but also people who don't have interaction with individuals who are different from them, people who've never had an interaction with someone with autism or hugged an individual in a wheelchair, or they feel awkward around someone with Down syndrome, and they have this like meaningful connection, which again builds that neural connection, that positive neural connection, that then the next time they interact with someone who's in a wheelchair or someone who's autistic or someone who has Down syndrome, they're more likely to have a positive interaction and to initiate that interaction because they've had a positive experience with Java Joy. So that's what we hope to be seeding through Java Joy.
I love that. And it is so important too that the public, general public, we'll call them, have the opportunity to have these positive interactions and then think of how much they can take with them into, talking about it with their friends or with their coworkers. And, for us, and the simple way we saw that it could happen was that I wrote children's books, took them into my children's schools, and thought, okay, now here's my second grader and here's all her classmates. Now everyone can understand what dyslexia means and how they can support her and why they can't see that that she's challenged by anything, but how can they support her when she's feeling afraid or confused and scared to say that she's different than them, even though that she looks the same, a lot with our autistic members as well. And knowing that those children that without disabilities will then take that knowledge and that experience with them into the next grades, and such a beautiful hope, that they will, and that it will come to fruition that way through their experiences.
We all have to learn, right? Especially if we've never been exposed to something. And I think oftentimes those of us that are in this community, we can advocate and we can be super strong, but really education is really where it starts, and if we can start at the youngest ages on the little kids on the playground, they don't have to unlearn anything, right? If we can start from the bottom when the brain is malleable and it's moldable, that's really where it starts. And then it changes throughout the course of their life. And I think it's just education and awareness. And oftentimes that's what Java Joy does, is it opens up bigger conversations, right? Of a CEO that goes, man, we had Java Joy in today, and I noticed there were 2 individuals with Down syndrome and 1 individual with cerebral palsy. I wonder if anyone in our company has children that have disabilities. I wonder what their life looks like, and then begins to open that conversation in the workplace, which then brings a sense of belonging for those parents who, as you know, are battling things, are balancing what typical parents don't have to balance, and feel greater support from the place that they work, right? And so it's just that shift in perspective that helps people to begin to think differently than what we are used to, and it really starts with a shift in perspective in education.
Yeah, absolutely. And positive experience with the individuals. And I love that you're providing that, and putting joy in the word for anything of the title is really going to make it seem happy, right? And you are joyful, you're excited. And who doesn't love coffee? Well, anyone that doesn't love coffee. I love coffee. So for me,
a good number of us do.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And I really think that especially when even, it's really tricky too, because I believe that all individuals, deserve the right to have good employment and things like that. And so, but also as a parent of an individual with high support needs, I understand my son may not be able to have the type of job a typical, 14-year-old could go and get. He doesn't communicate the same. He doesn't understand things the same way. All of these kind of
Right.
like bridges that we have to gap for them. But also understanding that, yes, he might speak 130 languages, do physics and math in his head. Maybe serving coffee would still be a good start for him to be able to learn some basic skills and start
Right.
that things out. Because I love the idea of having, that available, but also gaining that experience. You don't have to be that for your whole life. You don't, you have this
Right.
this super intellectual brain. Let's try to give you the work skills you need to then maybe go on to more gainful employment with a company that you could provide your services to and things like that.
Sure. And, networking is a part of most businesses, right? And
Yes.
so a lot of our joyristas, particularly those that are autistic, I think find and build skills that they need to go into another business and at least collaborate with their coworkers or network in some kind of way. And so those meaningful connections, I think, are applicable even outside of the workplace.
Yeah.
We had one mom who shared with us that her and her son, who is on the autism spectrum, have been able to connect so much more since he started working at Java Joy. And it's because he's built these question asking skills. So we do the question of the day. And, it's everything from like, what superhero would you be? Or what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish? Or whatever it is. And, she shared that before Java Joy, he would never ask her any questions. She would ask him questions and he would never ask him. And so now every day, she'll just say, what's the question of the day? And he'll ask her the question of the day, and even if he's not working at Java Joy, he'll come up with his own question of the day. And so it's allowed them to have this connection. And so now he knows her favorite Thanksgiving meal. And so then at Thanksgiving, he's like, Mom, the sweet potato souffle is da-da-da. And I know that's your favorite meal. And so again, it's like these little small things that have built connections, but that's a networking skill. Being able to ask questions is a networking skill, but it's also a relationship skill. And a mom with an adult son wants to be able to relate and have a relationship with her son. So, so absolutely, it may not be a career for them. It is for some. It started as a training program, and I remember the first year sitting down with our 20 joyristas that we had hired and saying like, okay, we're going to begin to path out what your next employment opportunities are going to be so that we can begin to network with these companies and know when we go into these companies, which place you in the companies that you want to eventually work at and all of that. And 18 of the 20 looked at us like, what do you mean?
I'm not going anywhere.
This is my dream job. Like,
Yeah.
you're telling me I have to leave? Like, it was it was like, what? I have to leave? And we were like, oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then we need to build some upward mobility within Java Joy. And so now we have managers and there's 3 different positions, and we pay a minimum of $10 an hour. So we're always paying over minimum wage. And up. And so there is upward mobility, and many of them can't create a career with Java Joy as much as they want to work at Java Joy. And so that part's really neat, but you're right. It's not for everybody. Some just come and learn and then move on and network with another company that hires them.
I love that you do that because I have a friend who is in California. I don't know why I just thought of her this way, but she often sees like the interest someone has and thinks, oh, I know what job you can do. You could be this for this kind of theater company. Oh, I see that you like this. Well, I think you should go to this sportscaster and you should talk to them about working as a sports writer and then move your way up to sports casting, and she like sees these things way deeply into, and it really gave me like this understanding that our kiddos, they don't just want to work at a grocery store being a backer. They don't just want to have the least, and like you said, everybody is so different. And some people, that will be their dream job, and that will be where they belong and
And
where
that's
they want to
okay.
be. And that's a perfect
Yes.
place to be. And I love
Yes.
that you're having that kind of level up opportunity, because I think that that's some things that us as parents, especially when we're getting our kids to this age 14 and up and 16, that we're will they have any opportunities? Well, we want them to get opportunities. We want the world and society to create opportunities for them. So, how can we foster all of that with them? And you're right, through networking and community building and making sure that we keep all of that kind of outreach going on within that. So, oh my gosh, I can't imagine what that what that looks like for you guys. But it's so exciting. So what kind of things are you guys doing at your summer camp, at your day camps?
Yeah. So, gosh, everything. I mean,
Yeah.
anything that a typical individual can do, we're doing at camp. Everything from field trips to crazy mud wars to all music therapy to sports to all the things. I mean, if you like it, we are doing it, guaranteed. And then our overnight camp is a really amazing opportunity again for that independence, but also for the respite for the families
Yeah.
who have been caretaking day in, day out. Many of our families, those that are still married, we encourage them go to the beach, go wherever, go spend time on your marriage so that
Yeah.
you can come back revitalized to take care of your individual or we have a lot of single parents, a lot of grandparents raising grandchildren. And so it's really an opportunity for them to find respite and support that they need. But yeah, I mean, we're doing it all this summer, and it's really neat. Matt, I mentioned with the Playground of Possibilities, he's one of our friends, one of our autistic friends, and he when he first came in from a sensory perspective, I mean, it's a pretty loud environment. We do have quiet rooms and sensory rooms and things like that, but he would come in with his earphones on, and he would make it to the front door, and then he'd go outside. And so gradually he would make it to what I call the tree room, which is there's a giant tree when you first walk into our organization, faux tree. It kind of looks like, like a Disney World country. He'd make it to the tree room, and then he'd go back outside, and then he'd make it to the big room, and then he'd go outside, and then he'd make it into anyway, 3 years into it, he is in the middle of what we call the flag circle, which is how we start our camp day. It's 250 individuals in a circle singing camp songs. And there is Matt in the very middle with a microphone leading a camp song without his headphones.
Wow.
And so there was an individual that saw the transformation that was friends with Matt's family and helped us contribute what we needed for the Playground of Possibilities. And so I just, like, every time I'm on that playground, I remember Matt's story and just the impact of an environment like ESP and how it truly can transform someone. And now he's able to go to birthday parties and football games and things like that because he was kind of sensitized to that level of energy and sound and all of that. And to see his level of growth is awesome. So those are the kind of transformations I'm looking forward to watching this summer, which is going to be really, really great.
Dr. Temple Grandin says that all the time too, that they need to work on desensitizing. That's one of her big teachings is that you got to help these kids get desensitized over some of these things sometimes.
Yes. And I think what's hard as a parent is it's hard to be the one to do that.
Yeah.
Because innately as parents, I know with my children, I don't want to see them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them hurting. I don't want to see them bothered. And so what's beautiful about an environment like an ESP or an organization like ESP or school is that I don't have those same feelings towards your child, and you don't have the same feelings towards my children, right? And so I'm able to help them be a little uncomfortable, which is okay, so they can be desensitized to a lot of these things. But parents can't do it alone. They need community individuals to circle around and love their children and help support their children in that way. And that's what ESP is all about.
My goodness, I'm moving to Atlanta, folks. Sorry.
Come on, girl.
We're out of here. Sorry, Utah. We're out of here. No, that's incredible. And so much along the lines of so many things I want to do and want to see happen in my own community for my own children. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all your amazing work that you're doing and for creating such an amazing space for families and individuals to thrive in their human, dignity and in their place on this earth. It's so hard to really have that sensitive heart towards every human and every individual. So thank you so much for being one of those special people.
Well, it's an honor, and it's an honor to raise my typical children in this community. I think they are going to go and continue to change the world because they are seeing the importance of valuing every human life. And regardless of what ability or disability that you have, we all have abilities to give, and we all have abilities to exchange with one another. And so it's an honor. It's an honor to raise my children around this community.
Love that. Oh, it's been so great to get to know you. And I'm really excited we made this connection and hope that we can stay in touch to foster lots of collaborations in the future. But before we go, please let everyone know where they can go to find out more information, to support you on your social medias, all of the good stuff.
Yeah, I would love for people to come and follow me on social media. We're doing a big special education appreciation right now, which I just love. We're giving all the goodies away to all the special education teachers that are doing really remarkable things in our community. You can find me on Instagram, Laura Hope Whitaker. Laura Hope Whitaker on Instagram, and my website is laurahopewhitaker.com. You can also follow Java Joy and ESP at ESP Inc. and Java Joy on Instagram. And then again, my information is Laura Hope Whitaker.
Hopefully I got all of that up there.
You got it.
And my fancy typing skills there. And yes, and go and tell me the Java Joy, that one.
Yeah, it's just at Java Joy on Instagram and at ESP Inc.
At ESP Inc. Oops, that's not right. ES. My dyslexia wants to get away with me.
All right.
How does that look?
Yes.
And
there you go. Boom.
Yay. Okay. Wonderful. Well, please go and follow these channels and make sure that you go to the website and also follow Laura on her social media so that you can support this amazing organization and the wonderful families that are a part of it. And most importantly, the wonderful individuals who are receiving such an amazing opportunity on this journey for themselves. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a joy. Thank you, Sarah. It's great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. And I look forward to staying in touch.
Same. Have a great day.